If you're working on an AI project these days, or even if you happen to find yourself in the middle of conversation about AI, chances are the discussion will shift towards security and privacy pretty quickly. And I get it. OpenAI and other foundational model providers have made it so easy to just connect to an API and start experimenting. But when it's time to connect your company's sensitive information to that, well, you're probably thinking about having a local model and probably a custom retrieval augmented generation pipeline. And those things can get scary and very complicated quickly. I wanted to share a couple of ideas of how you can build in security into your AI solutions while maintaining the flexibility of working with APIs. Microsoft is famously one of the largest investors in OpenAI. But did you know that if you're using Azure, Microsoft's cloud platform, you get access to Azure OpenAI Service. That service and its capabilities is actually very similar to OpenAI APIs. You can use all the latest models, you can use assistants, you can upload files to them, you can keep the files in vector stores. When you're using the service, all the data inputs and results are kept local to your instance of that service. No other customers have access to that data. That data is never used for training of the AI models or shared with OpenAI. This is the level of security you're probably looking for your sensitive solutions. Now, the Azure OpenAI Service has some differences between the OpenAI APIs. You need to pass the headers a little bit differently. The way that you authenticate is different. The way that you set versions is different. But fear not, we have a solution for that too. At 𝗿𝗿𝗏, we published an open source Rust library that makes it very easy to work with large language models from different providers with minimal code changes. In its latest 0.8 release, this library now supports Azure OpenAI Service. And because the whole point of the library is to make it very easy to switch and experiment with different vendors, the only thing you need to change to use Azure OpenAI Service is the version of the API that you're calling. Alright, at 𝗿𝗏𝗏, we're all about the practical applications of AI, so let's take this past the theory. With your help, we're going to migrate one of our internal environments to use the Azure OpenAI Service. You'll see how easy it can be. Let's open up the Azure console. Let's navigate to the Azure OpenAI Service. And here, we're going to create a new instance, and we're going to call it dev-𝗿𝗏𝗏 because it's for our dev environment. Next, we have to go to the OpenAI Studio, and here we'll create deployments of models that will be allowed within the instance. So let's pick a couple. Give them some names. And really, once you're done with that, this is all the setup you have to do on the Azure side. Behind the scenes, 𝗿𝗏𝗏 uses our Rust open source library, and our environments are configurable. Therefore, to make this migration possible, we only need to update a couple of configuration items. We're going to point the environment to use the new instance of the Azure OpenAI Service. We're also going to define the default model. We're going to pick one of the ones that we created. And then we're going to define all the enabled models for the environment. There is one more change that I'm going to do behind the scenes, which is setting the secret for the API. And once those changes are done, the environment is ready. It is now using Azure OpenAI Service. Privacy and security are rightfully a focal point of any AI conversation. Hopefully, this video gives you some ideas of how you can secure your data without having to take on ownership of all of the infrastructure. And remember, if you're using 𝗿𝗏𝗏, all of this comes out of the box, and we're always here to help you.